Hi, yeah, I'm Paul Giovanni. I'm with ClubRight. I've been with ClubRight for 3 years, but I've been involved in health and fitness for a long time now, 22 years.
He's not going to get that, but
Always been supply side. So I've always dealt with the gyms, the gym owners, and I've seen the evolution of the industry coming into the digital age, and I've always been involved with members and member journeys as part of my supply side interactions with customers. So I've seen that whole evolvement from the days of paper credit agreements to iPhones. That's me.
and I get to David.
Hi, thank you, Wayne. So I'm David Lang from a company called Unipass. We're an embedded white label payment company. So ClubRight Pay is Unipass. So we partner with SaaS platforms to do all the payment experience, digital payment experience for end to end. So great to be part of this panel talking with you today.
Cheers. Thank you very much, David. Well, and myself, and as you don't know, story behind ClubRight is very quick and simple. My wife and I are gym owners, and we created ClubRight on the back of our needs, and the rest of its history. We've got over 1,000 customers across the UK, 36 members of staff from Inverness down to Exeter, so being virtual makes it quite exciting, get a good broad spread of talent, and we enjoy what we do and make a difference to being the market disruptor we have been for so many years now. So today's subjects, if I can get that, so things are changing, and there's some interesting challenges coming around the door. So the Competition and Consumer Act is not going to come into place this November, which was originally the plan. It's actually going to be early next year. But fundamentally, there's some changes that, as a business and as a fitness industry, we need to start embracing. And in essence, the vast majority is all behind the need for a customer to be able to cancel, or the ability to request a cancellation in the same way as they did when you joined. So a bit like Netflix, you buy Netflix, you can cancel it. That's what's going to start to happen in the gym subscriptions and memberships. So the talk today is about how we can start to manage that and embrace those changes and ensure that we keep our customers to lending. So on to the next piece. So there's pretty much 5 stages. None of this is going to be rocket science for you guys who run your own businesses. But reaffirming it and revisiting it and going back to it is something we'd like to talk about today. So the first process, and I think we'll be probably going to Paul here on my left, is the sign-up process. So the experience. Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, again, so as I referenced in my introduction, I remember the days when you walked into a gym and you had to sign usually a triplicate set of paperwork, and you get this ripped off and sent to the bank, and you kept a copy, and the gym kept a copy. And then it goes down, hold you to account. Is the gym business if you can pay, right? Now the signs you set. Well, times have changed. And we're all aware of that. We're all very much embraced in the digital age. We have to. It's a fact of life. And so now most businesses do digitally, and whether that's in club through an online sign-up process that takes place in club, or whether it's purely internet, social media adverts, etc. So digital age is well and truly the industry.
And kind of nicely leads into where David brings that all together. So I'm not sure if we can share that with David.
Yeah, absolutely. And a key part of the onboarding is speed, efficiency, transparency. That's even more important in spring 2027. Part of that is the payments embed.
Do you want to talk about that, David?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I say just from a payments perspective, we certainly see from sign up that payments is really integral to that whole digital experience that people have when they come. If you think about the retail experience today with the digital wallets, the Apple Pay, the Google Pay, that frictionless experience when you sign up for the gym, and having that same experience really enhances that experience for the consumer when they want to join the gym. Having the opposite, having a clunky experience, you can really lose people in that journey. So they decide not to become part of it. So
it's an element of trust, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we really see that payment, the frictionless payment, and that journey of the sign up is absolutely key
Indeed.
to the whole experience and making that happen.
And that's one of the things that is so exciting about obviously what we do and other systems try to do, is bringing that together so you can see exactly what's going on with your customers at any given time. It's really, really key. So onboarding, I think, Paul, you can briefly touch us on with regards to the organisation, making sure members are engaged is an important thing.
Yeah, so think of onboarding as the starting point of a member's journey with your business. It sounds logical, but you've got to think about the whole onboarding experience. So you want a smooth flow, right? And importantly, in 2027, you're going to need to be super transparent about that, right? This is going to become law. It's not going to become optional. For example, if you have an introductory period, it might be a free period for the last 3 months, it might be a lower discounted price for the first 3 months, which then doubles it in full. Any of those are possible with most CRMs like ours. But you're going to have to be super transparent about that. There's a joining fee, a rata fee, discounted period, whatever it is, it's now mandatory, or it will be mandatory, to make all of that totally clear with products. And also 14-day cooling off. Now that was brought in a previous OFT investigation way back beyond, and we were all terrified of the OFT coming to the gym industry. I think what is now 12 years ago. Actually, we came out of it fine. So we shouldn't be worried about the DCMA getting into our industry again. We should embrace it. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to visit returners and to refresh them and make sure they're the very best they can be. And onboarding doesn't stop with the sign-up process. Then you can build journeys that immediately reach out and engage members as soon as they're completed the sign-up.
It sounds like we're about to go on to the next slide then.
Yeah. Sorry.
Someone to engagement. Let's move into engagement, right? So, I mean, it's a point that's really passionate for my personal reason, because there's nothing more frustrating than anything you deal with if you don't know what's going on. I mean, it just creates questions, creates lack of trust. And sometimes, as an industry, having been a gym owner myself, my biggest fear was losing a customer. Then actually, the biggest point was what I really needed to think about was, how do I keep that customer? And having a great service, and it sounds so basic, but it is good product, good service and communication, 9 times out of 10 stops the reason that person's going to go. And if they do go, well, they're going to go anyway. And you can't force people to do things they don't want to do. You're far better to allow that person to go. And in ClubRight, we're very passionate about this. We don't have a contract. You don't have setup fees. You stay because you want to. If you don't, fine, we failed. And that's the way we should look at our fitness businesses, and the whole engagement piece is really key. So I'm not sure, David, if you want to have a talk about that?
Yeah, no, the only thing I would add to the engagement piece is, again, giving that experience from the online and offline. So recognizing that you've got consumers who, sign up and want to book classes with engagement online, but then maybe they want to pay in club as well. So having that unified experience for the consumer and for the gyms, and having that one area, from an end-to-end perspective, and then for the gym itself, you'll be able to have everything in one place under one portal. They can track all the payments. So, that's the way we think about it from an engagement point of view. Really making sure that we can service everything from online to the card presence.
And that's it. I think if you're looking at Apple Pay, Google Pay, all the toys that we play with on a regular basis for then purchase we make, if your customer's able to see what they need to see in a transparent way, there's trust them. That sounds really, really basic stuff. But when it comes down to the basics, it's those are things that make a difference, and we shouldn't necessarily worry about overcomplicating things. So when it comes down for renewal, that's the clear notice of contract, and that's probably a good point for Paul to jump in.
Yeah, so there's going to be, the finer detail hasn't yet quite been battened down with the changes that are coming in the spring. But the current thinking is that you're going to have to notify customers at renewal time, right? And a good operator should potentially be doing it in particularly in annual contracts, for example. They're paying £300 up front for the year, it's getting to month 11. You're not informing customers that it's about to renew. boom, 300 phone calls every next month. You could get a lot of them happens from customers. I wasn't expecting 300 minutes to come to overdraft. So a good operator should potentially be communicating at renewal anyway for annual contracts. But that's going to become mandatory. So it's no longer an option. It's absolutely going to be essential. And not only that, on a rolling contract, so if you have a no contract in, i.e. that's on day one or the time, again, is offers the current thinking proposition is that there's going to have to be a renewal reminder, and the thinking is it's going to be about month 6. So at month 6, despite the fact you're on a rolling contract, you're going to have to build in the process to go, hey, we know you're still here, we know you're still paying, just to let you know the payments are going to still continue. That's how they're seeming you're going to handle the rolling of the memberships. Seems a bit of a strange one, but again, it's going to be fact and it's going to be here. So as soon as those really become clarified, start reaching out to your CRM provider going, can you handle this, right? Can you handle this element of the new law that's coming in? As I said, it's not going to be an option. And you're also going to have to remind them at a point where the price is going to change, right? So if you do have an intro period, and it might be the first month, 0 costs, month 2, 50% off, etc., whatever point that is special offer, that discounted period, that you hope to get them in, is changing to the regular price. Again, it's not enough, or it's not going to be enough to just let them know up front. You're going to have to build in a reminder process to say, hey, just to let you know, you've had your free period, we're now kicking into regular payments now. That might horrify us, but again, it's correct. We've got to embrace it.
Indeed. And from a payments perspective, David,
Yeah, look, memberships and gyms, they thrive on renewals and recurring payments, yeah? So, having that right set up is absolutely key to keep that continuity, zero friction. Yeah, a failed payment is, a big issue for gyms. So, one of the key things, I'll just give one example that we bring to here is it's called account updater. So we've all got credit cards and we all have them on file, and you're on a card, you get a new card that comes. So what we have with the solution there is it's automatically updated.
yeah, that's a
The
big win.
consumer doesn't need to do anything. Right. So if you look at the acceptance rates and again the frictionless experience that consumer using the account updater, which ClubRight paid, then it's absolutely there for us to do that.
Cool. I think that brings us on to one of the subjects that obviously is going to be contentious, worrying, but the cancellation is going to be a thing. Let's just face up to it. It is a thing. ClubRight, we 6 months ago, thereabouts, created a feature which is a request to cancel. Just note my emphasis on the word request. Not you can cancel on the member app your direct debit and your payment now. It's a request. And the reason we're doing that is it then potentially becomes you more compliant for what's going to be coming down the road. So what then happens is your member can request a cancellation. What that then means is that they get a communication from you as a gym that then tells them what the next part of the process is. And then you can then still deal with the whole process in the same way as you currently do. Nothing can change. But the reality of how we currently do things is that, I spoke to Paul in the gym 3 weeks ago and told him I was going to cancel. Did that really happen? There was an email. I sent an email to such and such. Did that really happen? There was a WhatsApp message. Did that really happen? It just becomes very confusing. So what we're trying to do here is make the cancellation simple and logical, and then have an audit trail so both parties can see what is actually going on. Paul, you've got any sort of additions to that?
Yeah. I mean, yes, you're right. Cancellations is contentious, and giving customers the ability to easily cancel is also contentious. Again, it's going to become a reality, so you're going to have to start to get used to that now. Start thinking about it now, because, say, spring 2027, if somebody signs up a membership online, they have the right to cancel online. And again, it's not optional, it's going to be mandatory. So you're going to have an online cancellation journey per se. Now, for me, it's an opportunity, right? It horrifies, I can understand, but it horrifies some people. But look at all the global corps, Netflix, Amazon, they do make it easy to cancel, and they're still saying, gym's like a bathtub. Water in, water out. So it's providing you get more water in than out, you're okay, being right. Why is it an opportunity? Well, build a journey that tries to capture the reason why someone does want to cancel. So start to understand more about dissatisfied. Are your fees potentially too high? Dissatisfied with some recruitment? Maybe you have staff issues. Maybe it's competition screen. There's a whole host of reasons that people want to cancel, and part of the battle in preventing that, aiding retention, is to understand market building. So there's your opportunity. Building a list of cancellation reasons, allow free tactics, etc., etc. You can start to understand more in the business. It's also an opportunity. Do you want to freeze instead of cancel? Right. So if you're just cancelling because they're going to Tenerife for 2 months, tell you what, you don't need to cancel. We offer a freeze instead. Fine. Okay, you can prevent the cancellation. There's also an opportunity to give a really nice leaving experience. Now, if I was a gym operator rather than a software operator, do you know what? Everybody that left me, I'd email them a free day pass. Right? I'd go, we've loved having you. You want to come back? You don't have to pay us. Here's a free day pass. You'd be giving them a really warm leaving experience. Because the one thing for certain, your members have a bad leaving experience, they'll never set foot in your door again.
Indeed.
So you fill the lever with as much love as you do the joy.
And your thoughts on that one, David, because that's a really important point.
Yeah, I think from a payments perspective, we try to preempt that cancellation. If you look at all the data that we collect, we can see, or nobody's booked a class for the last 2 months. And we can see the trends of the different, how they're booking the classes and the payments and everything like that. And then we can take that and then we can start doing some embedded marketing. And then we can look at the different trends and we can come up with recommendations about, let's do a promotion, because we see at certain times of the month they do things and other times they don't. So there's so much data from the trends, and then you can put it into embedded marketing and promotions from that payments data there from there.
And it's all about, like you say, it's understanding what your customers do when they do it. And we're all talking about a lot of data right now, and data, we like it or not, is king. And having the ability to look at it, review it, and understand what it can tell you makes such a difference. So it kind of leads us on to, it's all about the journey, having a clear process. And as I said earlier, the cancellation process is more about giving a request to do something they might want to do. And we're here, we're ClubRight. Obviously, we like to think we know what we're doing, and I think we both probably do based on the growth we've had. But does your software actually do the kind of things that we've been talking about today? As much as it's a pitch for us, it's really a pitch to say, take a look at how your business is currently running. Is it running to what will be new standards that potentially will change things an awful lot? And when you're looking at how your business is going to change, you want to be ready for it, as opposed to behind the curve. And that's kind of why we wanted to talk about this. So, Paul, have you got any comments on that?
Yeah, as I say, like it or not, these changes are coming. So, do start to embrace them. Do some research. Do some research on what they might mean for your business. I say, I will personally view them as an opportunity. The person we've been around for a while will remember the warranty, similar kind of outcomes and investigations, and I think the gym industry came out of that a lot healthier, better. It got a lot less bad press than we used to get in the days. Consumer forums used to be filled with, I cannot get a right gym contract, yada, yada, yada. You see a lot less of it nowadays. So we've all grown up a bit. I think we've all very well embraced the digital age. We're now just taking it to the next level.
And David, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, just to reiterate, Paul said, I think from us it's the end-to-end journey that we have, and that embedded experience that we bring. And then for the gyms, have everything in one place, the portal, the level of data, the trends that you can bring, the true embedded experience with that, and also all the AI features that are coming on board with that as well. Right, so it's just changing that whole experience.
It really is, and that's kind of what we're all about. And this is hot off the press. So, last few days, ClubRight and Unipass collectively, we are now shortlisted for a ClubRight Pay and the integration we had with Unipass, the best initiative in embedded finance. So we're quite chuffed about that, because it really shows that we're achieving some really good stuff. And if we end up winning it, I'll obviously be very happy. But just to be shortlisted is something I wanted to share with you today, because we're very proud of that piece of information. And appreciate your time, really.
Let me just add just one thing. You go back to that slide. So, for those who don't know, Pay360 Awards is probably one of the largest awards in the payments industry. What was great is there's a lot of awards are given for your product, your technology, but actually to be part of it with what you do together in a partnership is something that shows the true value. So we're there with one of 5 other who's been into the finalists here. So really proud to be partnering here with ClubRight.
Yep.
And I think we are doing things that are changing that experience in the industry
We're
together.
certainly pushing the envelope, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it's great to be together in this one.
And thanks for being part of that, baby. And I think, so it's kind of wrapped things up a little bit. You can find us on stand D63. We're here to answer any questions now, but equally, if you've got questions you'd like to ask after. This is all stuff that's happening. So what we discussed is not concrete, it's not cast in stone as yet. But the indications are it's not going to be far off what we've been speaking about today. So the purpose of today is really to share what's coming down the line, and at ClubRight and Unipass, we're here to help and answer those questions. So thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the best of Elevate. So it's been a 10-year celebration for Elevate, and winning 10 years old in October. So thanks very much for your time. Thank you.